but I do want to remember the great Luther Vandross, my favorite singer of all time. Not saying he's the greatest vocalist, although I think he's a top tier, but he's my favorite, and I think he's the best vocalist of his generation. What's your favorite Luther Vandross song?
I would say it again.
I said, and don't get this wrong.
No, I don't even think you could get it wrong. Well, I mean, he's gonna think, but I will say, probably So Amazing. I've been listening to that more often. It's on my repeat playlist. Like, it's such a beautiful song. Like the way he sings it, it sounds like script. Like you like when you hear like Miles Davis play the horn, you could hear like script writing. For me, that's what I hear when Luther sing. I hate your singing face. It's dumb. Stop that.
You know what? Your regular face is dumb.
Oh. But I will say I love that song, like the background vocals, the harmony. I remember being in the back of my mother's car when she used to play CD 101.9 in New York, so smooth jazz. And I just remember her trying to, like, she was kind of bodying it. I'm not gonna lie. She was harmonizing with the So Amazing part. And like, I just thought about that song like maybe a month ago, and I just been listening to it probably like every day.
So Luther's an interesting person. He does a Prince thing sometimes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Let
me hear this.
Well, I'm talking about, he does a few Prince things, but
okay.
I'm talking about the fact that he writes a song for you.
Yeah.
Gives it to you.
Yes.
And then, not too long after, he going to take it back.
Yeah.
And when he takes it back, unfortunately, it might not go the way you want it to. So he wrote So Amazing for Dionne Warwick.
Who, I mean, and they bang together.
They bang together hard, right?
They bang together hard, yeah.
He wrote that in 83 for her. She sings it on How Many Times Can I Say Goodbye album. And then, by the way, I'm a Luther Vandross nerd, just for.
Oh, no. I got that. I got that.
Just so you know, but for the audience, right? Luther then 3 years later comes along and says, you know what? I'm going to do it. And when Luther does it, he does it to death. And he just bodied the song. I would argue Stevie Wonder does the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
He writes All I Do for Tammy Terrell. And when he writes it for Tammy Terrell, it's a fine song. Right? But when he does it on Hotter Than July, the tempo is different.
Yeah.
The song is different. The bridge is I mean, he adds a bridge.
And
it's like, yo, this is some other shit. Now, sometimes he does the opposite, right? He makes the changes Till You Come Back to Me, right? He has a version Till You Come Back to
Me. He did have it first.
Well, he wrote it for Aretha. He does a version of it later, I believe. But
he released the version after but he did it later. He did it earlier, rather.
Right,
he did
exactly.
it earlier. Yeah.
But I mean, Aretha is the original bone. Like, nobody wants no smoke with Aretha. When Aretha does a song, that's the end of it. But Otis Redding can do Respect, don't matter. When Aretha does Respect, that's the end of the conversation, right? Yeah. When she does Skylark, it's like a jazz standard on her Columbia albums in the 60s, I think it was 62, 61, 62. She kills Skylark. And nobody else is going to, who wants to do that? I've heard Etta James say, I ain't going to use the language she used, but she said that beat pissed all over that song. I ain't never doing it again about a song that she did. So it's just like, there's a way that you just have to respect that. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
It's just a thing that she got. Aretha just got, I'm trying to find one Aretha. Y'all fact check me. I thought it was 62, but it might not be.
I ain't gonna lie. I got you.
Yeah. When did she do Skylar? But 63. She did in 63.
Yeah.
I like to have this is office hours. We can't be giving wrong information.
You can't be giving wrong information.
Sure. But the point is, Luther is the king of that too. Now, So Amazing wasn't one of those songs, but when he does Superstar,
yes, yep.
There's lots of versions of Superstar, but I think, and some people like the Carpenters version better.
Yeah, but no, I prefer
Bette Midler's.
Yes, I'm not knocking, but like when you hear, it's just like Luther's voice. There isn't. I haven't heard anybody who sounds like Luther Vandross in the tone, in his runs, and just his pure vocal ability. Like there is, I think I've heard people do Stevie Wonder songs and like take it to another level in terms of like, yo, kind of body this. Yes.
Like who? Another level?
Another level.
I think people either do an inferior job or they meet the standard.
Lately by Jodeci, I think
that's meeting the standard.
No, I think it over exceeded. When you hear Lately, do you think about Stevie Wonder song?
Yeah, your obsession with Varnell Hill.
It's not an I'm giving it's the fact, bro. Like, they took it to another level.
Your obsession with Martin, he's a Martin fan, to be clear.
So what?
And I'm saying that your obsession with Martin, which is, we all got obsessions.
But so you're saying that that's like that's a way far out claim. Like that's not a.
I think that I don't think it's absurd.
It's not absurd.
I think it's wrong.
I disagree.
I think that Casey did an amazing job with that.
So did JoJo.
What'd you say?
So did JoJo.
Yes.
Okay. Actually. What?
They both did a great job on the song. I like their version of Lately, just like I like Casey's version of If You Think You're Lonely Now, but I wouldn't say he beat Bobby Womack. I would just say
I wouldn't say that either.
I would say that he met the standard. That's a big deal to meet the standard.
But okay, I think they did better in my opinion because vocally you get two different elements. You get JoJo and then you get KC. These are two intertwined and powerful voices. Say it again.
I could live without that.
I don't care what you can live without.
I prefer Stevie and Wonder.
Yeah, but like great. But that don't mean you can't get bodied on your own shit. Like you can.
Stevie has been bodied.
Yes.
Let me.
Yes.
Let me think. I'm trying to think of a good anybody.
Yes, the Stevie. Yes, the Stevie. People get bodied on their own shit. He's not excluded. He's not excluded. Yes.
Who is body Stevie? Have I ever heard a Stevie Wonder song where I said, you know what, this person killed Stevie?
And let me
Ripping in the Sky again. People have met the standard.
Intro, fire,
met the standard.
Come on, bro.
If Rolando said, if you think you're lonely now, it's petty as fuck. Oh, it is. That is not a love song. That is a threat.
It is. Bobby Womack is what a nasty past.
Yo, he said, you think you're lonely now?
Wait until tonight, girl. Wait until tonight.
Can you imagine singing that to somebody?
No, I couldn't. I couldn't imagine that.
Fair enough.
I couldn't imagine that.
Who has done a great? No.
Intro's version of Ribbon in the Sky is classic.
It meets the standard. I think it meets the standard.
Okay. Sure.
I don't think Blackstreet did Love's in Need of Love. I don't think that was good enough. None of the remixes are right. Gladys Knight did For Once in My Life, which is fine. No one's done Lately to me quite well enough.
Yo, when you talk about Lately, like nobody, not to say nobody talk about the Stevie Wonder version, but the most popular version of that song is from Jodeci, from MTV Unplugged.
From your generation. I think from your generation. I think a lot of people still like the Hot July version.
Even Stevie dapped them up and was like, yo, y'all.
Yeah, he said you did a good enough job.
Y'all was out there wilding, like, respect, bro. Like,
yeah, they did a good job. I'm not saying they didn't do a good job. I'm just saying they didn't beat it.
Agree to disagree.
Okay, but with Luther, I think what makes Luther great is that he writes for amazing people. You know, he obviously gave Aretha a second wind with Jump to It and all these other songs in the 80s. But
even Change, like,
yeah, I mean, Change was, for those that don't know, Luther Vandross was part of a group called Change. His first hit was actually as a lead singer, but although he wasn't attributed on the album, the album was called Glow of Love. That's a great song.
Yo, Change. And to hear his voice just blended with the music was unbelievable. Searching, Hold Tight, like his harmony and Hold Tight was,
in general, his harmonies are just
elite.
There's nobody better.
Elite.
But his first solo hit, Never Too Much, which he wrote, produced the whole nine around the album. To me, I mean, that was a club hit. That's one of the things people don't realize because
Yeah.
music has changed. That was a club hit. People was in a club listening to Never Too Much.
Like this. And Ascots, yeah, in the
Right.
80s, yeah.
But it was the shit. Right.
Yeah.
I listen to that song all the time. It's one of the songs I listen to. I challenge to listen to too much because it's one of my it's on my perfect song list that I put.
Okay.
I didn't publish it the other day on my perfect song list. I put other songs, but that's definitely one of them.
How do you define a perfect song?
It's a couple. One for me, it's all the elements of it are right. It's well written. The music is great. It has an enduring power to it, but it also captures a moment. And at the personal level, it's a song that I could hear every day for the rest of my life and be good with it. So, for example, when I listen to "Got Till It's Gone," that to me is a perfect song.
It's a perfect song.
This is, and when I hear it, it takes me back to the fall. The spring of '97. I'm in Atlanta. I can hear it. I hear people say to me, "Yo, Janet getting down with culture," right? I remember the video. It's literally what people said to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Actually, no, I was in West End when my OG said that to me. I remember the music. The song is beautiful. The sample's perfect.
Sample is a banger.
Q-Tip's verse is perfect, and the production is dope. Janet
That's Jay Dilla, right?
I'm sorry, it's Jay. You're right. It's Jay Dilla producing it.
Yeah.
Q-Tip is just on it. He's doing the ad libs and the
verse, yeah.
Right. And you can tell whatever's going on with Janet and Q-Tip, I feel an energy between them. I don't know what's going on. Energy between them that's so beautiful. To me, it doesn't get any better than that song. I think "As" is a perfect song.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, there's just nothing wrong with it. If I had a small critique, is that sometimes it's too long to listen to, like, every time from beginning to end.
For sure, yeah. If you're not doing like the radio edit, like the actual 7 minute plus 7 plus is
right. It can just be a long song, but it's an amazing song, and I could listen to "As" every day. Right. SWV Week,
which was originally Charlie Wilson's song, and he passed on it.
And he should have.
He should have.
It just doesn't work for him.
He should have. No. Well, I mean, I'm sure Charlie could have, shop it up and tweeted.
Oh, it would have been fine. We just wouldn't
have been fine.
We wouldn't be talking.
No.
Here's one that I love. Supreme John Coltrane. I'll go to my deathbed on. No one's gonna fight me on that. Here's the one that's controversial. Some people either agree with me and say, "Mark, you know your music." Other people be like, "Mark, what the fuck are you talking about?" And that is "Breakdown," Mariah Carey.
I love that song.
I think it's a perfect song. And I'm not a Mariah Carey stan by any stretch.
Yeah.
But you know what? If there's a critique, I could live without Bone Thugs, right?
That was an integral part of the song.
No. Well, I mean the verse, not the.
Oh, so not the chord.
It's similar. It's similar to Notorious Thugs, right?
Yeah.
It's similar to Notorious Thugs. Like, you need them there because it's Bone and Biggie is Bone, right? And his whole flow is based on the fact that
Yes.
Similarly, Mariah, her whole flow and cadence and phrasing is based on that. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
The casual smile gradually. I got
it.
And you ask me how. Like, all that part is all about Bone Thugs being there. I'm with that, but it's the actual lyrics that. I mean, if you listen to "You Called Yesterday," we can't sing it because we're gonna get copyrights.
You're gonna get copy, yeah.
To basically say that you care for me, but you're just not in love. Immediately, I pretended to be feeling similarly and led you to believe it was okay to just walk away from the one thing that's unyielding and sacred to me. Man, first of all, just the vocabulary on that song for R&B song. But what she's actually arguing, you have to actually listen to that song to understand. And then when you live some life and somebody has actually called you to say, "Look, and this happened to me before," like, "Look, I love it. You know what I mean? I care for you. I'm not in love." Right. But I pretended to be feeling similarly. I led you to believe it was okay to just walk away from the one thing that's unyielding and sacred. And it's just, and I guess I'm trying to be right. That's nonchalant about it. I'm trying to be nonchalant about it. And I'm going two extremes to prove I'm fine without you. But in reality, I'm slowly losing my mind underneath a casual smile. Wait, Underneath the casual smile, gradually I'm dying inside.
Just bars.
You ask me how
Bars.
I feel, and I lie convincingly because I
Bars.
don't want to reveal the fact that I'm suffering. So I wear a disguise till I go home at night and turn
Damn.
out all the lights. Then I break down and cry. Doom, doom, doom. You know,
Damn.
the beat. That song is like.
Tell me about what was going on around there, because you don't just sing it like your face. I was like, oh,
Man, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, boy.
I'd have been someplace.
I'd have been someplace. Look, the funny part is the funny part about Breakdown is when the song came out, I wasn't old enough to experience love or to know anything about it. I wasn't
When it hits you.
It's actually when I got older and I listened to the song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know some songs hit you later.
Most songs.
That's Luther. That's Luther for me.
Yes, because so amazing. When I was listening to it, I was like, damn.
That's what I'm saying.
I couldn't catch it because it was just a song that I heard, but like to live and hear and feel the lyrics, it's like, damn, it's so amazing to be loved. Oh, I'll follow you to the moon and the star. Come on, above, I will follow you.
There's a beauty in his words that's subtle, even never too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says, "I can't fool myself. I don't want nobody else to ever love me." He's never talking about who he wants to love, right?
No.
He said, "I don't want nobody else but you to love me."
Me.
Like that shit's wild. You know what I mean? Like that's a different kind of love. You know what I mean? Like I can't fool myself. I don't want nobody else to ever love me. You know, I think about some of his songs that I thought were corny or like I just listened to as like R&B in a dentist office.
Yeah.
When I got older, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Can I take you out tonight?
I was grown by then. That to me was Luther doing something else. I didn't necessarily I like to take you out.
Yeah.
But it was like, all right, bro.
That was what I love that song because
a great song.
I was
put on your linen.
You definitely got your big collared shirt.
Oh, you definitely that was big. Yo, all my old heads on that song, man. You go on a Tom Joyner cruise, I'm telling you right now.
You got your hat just slick. That slick hat. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. To the movies, to the park.
But I didn't say horny R&B music in the dentist office. I said
that's wild.
Yeah, just R&B music. I forget the word I said. I might say corny R&B, but I definitely didn't say horny. Maybe corny, but definitely not horny. But
like Silk in your dentist office, like
maybe everybody heard me say horny because people make it dentist. No, I didn't go to that kind of dentist. I was just saying like I don't know. But anyway, the point is Luther had these songs. No, it's Any Love.
Oh, I love Any Love.
Right, that bossa nova beat.
Yeah.
And like there was a way that again, and I because I know Luther's life and I'm a kind of a Luther nerd, I know that was a low moment for him in his love life. And you know, he was literally trying to find any love, right? And it was tough because Luther a lot of times had really bad lows, and Luther's mood, his attitude, the way he treated people was directly tied to his love life. You could tell what Luther was going through. When him and In Vogue went at it on tour when they named him Lucifer, or when him and Anita Baker didn't get along so well. Though now we might look a bit different. A lot of that was tied to his love life. You know what I mean? But you know, when you look about that song, go ahead.
I was gonna say like as a Luther head, where do you think a lot of the contention came from, like during those times in his love life? Like what was
he got left a lot. He got hurt a lot. He got his heart broken a lot. Luther fell in love with, I won't say who it is because I know who it was, but he fell in love with a very famous musician. He had another devastating relationship with a musician who he worked with at times. And they left him. You know, there was I'll say a drummer, that's all I'll say, who he had a troublesome relationship with. And so Luther was often getting his heart broken, and between that and the weight, which was often tied together, Luther often he struggled. You know, he struggled with love. He struggled with lots of things. And so when he wrote Any Love, it was like, okay, my career's good, my money's right. If you think about the words of the song, right, I speak to myself sometime and I say, oh my, in a lot of ways, you're a lucky guy. And now all you need is a chance to try any love, right? what a world for the lonely guy. Sometimes I feel I'm going to lose my mind. Can somebody tell me where I could find any love? You know what I mean? He's really he's desperate, right?
Yeah.
He remade Superstar, but for those that don't know, which and Superstars had different names. It wasn't always called Superstar. The Bette Midler version, I believe, is called what was the Bette Midler version called? It's called something else. It'll come to me in a second, but maybe it'll come to me in a second. But
take your time. You preaching? Go for it.
But a groupie, it was called. It was called Groupie.
Okay.
It was called Groupie, but then it had another name too. That's not the name I'm trying to think. But it was called Groupie. It was called something else. But anyway, he had a very similar situation where he had been loved poorly. In fact, he'd been kind of abandoned by a musician. Again, I ain't gonna say who went on the road and left him and broke his heart. So part of it was that Luther was making music in response to what was going on in his world. So he didn't write Superstar, but he made a 12-minute version. And to me, that's one of the greatest articulations of his character and his music. If you think about like me and Cornel West one day had this big debate. We were in Sylvia's and we were debating Marvin or Luther. And his point was that Luther,
in terms of overall,
yeah, you know, regular. It's the old head version of top five. Old head version of Jay-Z and Nas. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And he was basically like, nah. He said Luther's work is too polished. His voice is too polished. There's no. But for me,
okay.
But that's the beauty of his work to me.
That's why I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People said about Whitney too, right? That the music is too polished. That, you know, like you're supposed to be like we want the Donny Hathaway. We want some bent notes. We want some growl. We want some.
Yes.
I get what people want, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced that that's. I think that might be sometimes to miss the point of what Luther's doing. I think the part of his musical articulation is that he is a wounded healer, that he is torn up inside, but he's still bringing you this polish. I mean, that's who Luther was as a person, right? Luther presented well. He was articulate. He was smooth. He was nice. And when you listen to the pain of Superstar, he takes you on this sonic journey, and then he gets to that part where he sings that note for loneliness.
Yeah.
You know, and he's clearly tortured,
right?
But he has to present as if he's not, and that's what Luther was as a person. He was a gay, you know, what many presume to be a gay, never out man who was heartbroken, who had to present to the world as this other thing.
Well, and like that's why I asked you, like, where do you think? Because there's always seemed like there was confusion in terms of how people perceived him. And it didn't seem like he had I would say, like there was a lot of peace. It always seems like there was turmoil between, like, and you could see it in his, as I get older, the weight fluctuating. His weight being, like, he was tarnished in the public eye. Like, you know, there's always a joke, like, you know, I want to hear Luther, like that's big Luther.
Right, big Luther, right?
I don't want to hear skinny Luther. I want to hear big Luther, because that's how people identified with him. And I think to your point, I think it's hard to this is only the reason why there's one Luther Vandross and one Whitney Houston, because like their voices, yes, you might not have. I like the crack and context in people's voices, like KC, like
Whitney definitely got the crack.
Yeah, you don't know them people. You don't know them people to be talking about them like that. That's all I'm gonna say. You don't know them like that. Okay, I don't want to hear no. You put it back. Put me back. Thank you. I was gonna say, you're a child. People like to hear the pain and context in people's voices, of course. But when you get comments like, "Oh, you know, Luther's and Whitney are polished," like it's hard as hell to be polished like that. Like it takes a lot of God-given talent, and everybody can't do that. So when everybody can't do something, you know, they kind of sweep it under the rug. They were too polished, too perfect. Nah, bro. Like, I would rival Luther as a singer damn near over. I mean, just pure singing. He's in rare air. I'll say that. You said I'm a child. You don't
Talking
know
about
how
me.
old I
You're talking
am.
about me because
Okay, I was like, you don't know how old I am, but yeah, you are a child though.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're literally talking about me. The crack comment.
yeah. That's wild that you would say that. We don't know. You don't know them like that. You know them by like you've been to their mama's house.
No name, no blame. This is what I'm gonna say.
You've been snitching the whole show.
I keep not snitching. Only
You
person I talk
keep
about. Ooh, I said Snoop smoked weed with me. Yeah, the whole world. I'm sure that the feds are gonna drop the Diddy case and kick down his door.
I don't want to be a part of anything. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, make your point. You had a
I don't
point.
even know my point.
You don't even know your point. Happy 420.
That's the point. Luther is the greatest. I love the tone of his voice. I love his pitch. I love I love his ability, his range. I love his ability to remake songs. Ironically, the only time he remade songs that I thought they weren't good was when he made the remake album.
Was that when he had that wasn't when he had Going in Circles, was it?
Mm-hmm. Going in circles. What he did was, and this is the story behind it, and then we can move on because we actually haven't talked about the thing that people come for.
I love that song though. I thought he like incredible.
Luther was chasing a #1 album. He had never had a #1 album before.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you this too, because getting older and realizing like even like his voice was so universal, but he was kept in such a box of very niche.
Yeah,
so
Negro
like
music.
You said what?
Negro music. They made him the R. He was always at the top of the R&B charts, but he never had #1 album.
Damn.
So
he put on that fedora and that tie, and he thought.
Well, here's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
They went to him and they said, well, he went to the label. He kept saying, he made a pizza metaphor, which whatever. He basically said, I make the best pizza in town, but the delivery truck keeps getting a flat on the way over. He was basically saying
that's authentic. Right. That's
it's so authentic. It's so Luther. It's such a Luther thing.
Authenticity. Yes.
And what Luther basically said was, I keep putting out the best stuff, and I'm not the record label is not delivering for me in a way that they should, So this is where things got rough. And he had never had a #1 overall song either. It wasn't just that he had so he went to Tommy Mottola. Right? Tommy Mottola was married to Mariah Carey at the time.
Yeah.
And said, I got the perfect solution for you. Make a covers album. People love your covers. If you sing standards, it works. It works for I left my Tony
Bennett.
Tony Bennett, other people, you make album covers. Natalie Cole did. Natalie Cole did Unforgettable with Love, which I think is an amazing album. I thought she actually did great covers of lots of songs like Unforgettable, LOVE, etc. Right? It works.
That was a banger.
So he makes the album called Songs. And it was a great album. And it made it very close to the top. Right? He ended up with a #2 hit on the charts.
Man, damn,
it was really, really devastating. He remade Endless Love.
Right.
He remade Endless Love with
Mariah Carey.
Because it was
Tommy Mottola.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was the right move. It was the right attempt, but even then, with the backing of Tommy Mottola, with you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With everything else, it still came in second place. I can't remember who was in first place. I believe it was Boyz II Men that beat them out.
Of course.
I believe, but I might be wrong about that. I gotta look because it was I forget who it was, but they ended up as number 2 on the chart. And it was I'll Make Love to You, Boys to Men. I mean, Boys to Men was a
They
lot.
would, yeah.
Yeah,
White
no,
Hot said cook like clams.
yeah.
Situation. Yeah. Okay, that was my reference.
Okay. So for the people that don't know, that was a fucking reference to Martin and Varnell Hill and that damn Jodeci episode. So if you
It's
thought
a legendary episode. It's better than the Fresh Prince Boys
it's
to
the
Men
second best
episode.
Martin episode ever. It's first or second.
Okay, I give you that. I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah, New Jack City for me and that are like neck and neck.
Understand. But yeah, wow.
So he never got the number 1 album. But here's the irony, the sad irony. When he makes Dance with My Father, yeah, it made number 1, but he didn't really get to enjoy it.
He didn't get to, yeah.
Luther had suffered a stroke, by the end, so he got the number 1, but at what cost?
At what cost?
That's
it's metaphor for life.
Yo, it really is. It really is. Kimi Acosta said, Aboyade Acosta said, do you remember when he sang Whitney Houston's All the Man That I Need, but changed the lyrics to All the Woman That I Need? Yeah, and that's something that he played with at different times in his career, right? He definitely did All the Woman That I Need, which kind of made sense for Luther. But also, I mean, Glow of Love, he's still saying all that's true and new and gay, right? When he does Killing Me Softly, I believe he said young boy, didn't he? Let me double check.
From what I remember, yeah, I don't think he checked, but I don't think he changed the lyrics.
I don't think he changed the lyrics for that one, which kind of makes sense because again, it's a tougher thing because the guy is strumming his pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with his finger.
Yeah, so I get why it would be weirder to change those lyrics. Yeah, strumming my pain with his fingers. I heard he sang a good. So yeah, I went to see him. No, here's what he did. He said, "There he was, the stranger." There he was, the stranger. Yeah, there before my eyes. Yeah, he was stranger. He wasn't gonna sing "Young Girl" because then you'd have to change the whole song. But he didn't want to say "young boy," which makes sense because it's not just that he's a boy; it's that he's a young boy, and people have these ugly, nasty stereotypes about queer people. And
predatory.
So I see why he might not say there he was, this young boy.
Because I was thinking, like, while you were talking, the correlation between kind of him and Whitney kind of breaking through that ceiling of having a strong voice, but also like, she was revered and looked at as like a universal standard of beauty at one point. I think with Luther, because I was like, is there any time that any other time and period that Luther would like succeed or get a number 1 based off of just being him? Like,
I mean, I think Dance with My Father was a legit number 1 song, no matter.
Dance with My Father was an incredible, and like I know a lot of people like,
I can't even listen to it.
Huh?
I can't believe
what I'm saying. Like, I think people like towards the end of his life, like people were kind of like, oh, well, Luther. I think that's one of the that's a one-on-one song. Like, first of all, you don't even get songs about like dads like that. Not to say that and to have, I think, the vulnerability of just Dance with My Father as a child, as a boy. You never really, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
To the point I started to see grown men get emotional.
I mean, I could listen to it before my dad died, and that still was like it was just beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. But after, I could listen to that song once, twice a year.
Yeah.
And it's just I'm just committed to crying at that point. And I do a Luther thing. Every year I listen to Luther's Radio City concert, and now they dropped the extended version of that, so it has even more ad libs and a couple more songs. It doesn't start with "Never Too Much" anymore; it starts somewhere else. And it's such a beautiful song. And that now I think of my relationship with my own son.
Yeah.
And so I think about the song even differently, because it's really about a boy and his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Luther made some. I mean, he made some. I mean, the medley on that. I mean, he even did songs like "Think About You" that I love. I'd rather, which is again
I love that song.
Yeah, he made some newer songs that were great.
He definitely had some bangers in like towards in that the early aughts.
Yeah,
Those 2000, he had some bangers.
I loved that rather, and I loved and most people didn't like this song, but I really loved Think About You. I thought it was very much in his. I liked when Luther sang for his age and his generation. When he did Can I
This is
Take You
why I
Out?
like. This is what I'm saying. That's a banger. Like, come through with the hat. Excuse me, miss. What's your name? It's like that. Yes. Get that unk energy. Yeah.
No, it's definitely big unk energy. That's like
Big
the
unk
Steve
energy.
Harvey emergence.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. The Stacey Adams. Okay. The
facts.
facts. Like that's that energy. And you know what though? Luther could make, and I remember it was a joke. Luther could sing the phone book. Yeah. You can tell the wide range of songs that he had, but towards the end of his life, like he was making them bangers for adult contemporary, and it didn't seem like he was afraid to step into that. No. I can't say that with all artists.
That's real, man. Well, salute to Luther Vandross. Ever, the great 420, the only 420 that really matters.